Now we're live. Welcome to our first Scrim stream, I guess we can call that, featuring our newly crowned draft champion from our last stream on Sunday. Tristan's here as our guest battling, so we get to see from his point of view. He'll have a couple of friends, ultra friends, lined up. We have a commentator today with AJ.
Yeah, and
hey,
I
everybody.
think Polly might be joining
And
us
Polly
later
might be
too,
joining
but
as
we'll
well.
see.
And there was one other thing we wanted to point out before starting is our stream is going to go about an hour long. And right after, I think you guys can all head over to Kiang's stream, who has what exactly is he going to be streaming tonight? Do you guys know?
I believe it's like a meta
A
discussion.
meta discussion, right? With a couple of
Yeah,
big
I think
names
he
as
has
well.
I think he has some of the other like YouTube content creators joining him.
Perfect. So, Tristan, do you already have a game lined up right now?
Yeah, so I'm gonna be battling Best in West.
Perfect.
And we're just for now we're just doing like blind threes. Ooh, that's not the league I wanted to challenge in.
Blind threes. And we have a list of Tristan's Pokemon that he has ready on the left of the stream. So it's 12, but he's gonna be, it's still early in the meta. We've done a lot of sims and all that, but it'll be nice to actually practice and see which team of 3 performs the best. So
yeah, so this is just kind of to get a feel for some of the different mons, because there's a lot of stuff that seems like it could be viable.
Yes, so we're looking at your team with quotation marks there because you really haven't settled on a team of 6 quite yet. Is that right, Tristan?
Yeah, I'm not too sure yet. I've been kind of playing around with a bunch of ideas in my head, and want to see how some of these mons kind of play out before.
Yeah, we're looking at some top meta picks here, like Vigoroth, for example, at least is in there. Brillium has been kind of torn apart as of recently, so I don't expect to see it that much, especially with the prevalence of Heracross. But I'm also seeing your Legacy Magneton, Lantern. Noctowl is definitely going to be prevalent, Venusaur, Fortress to some extent. So some good picks, and we'll be able to showcase them, and hopefully we get a little bit of diversity from our challengers today. Just some scrims, blind threes, is that right?
Yeah, maybe towards the end we'll see about throwing together a 6, depending what my battle partners want to do as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say the 2 big ones that I don't have right now that I want to make are a Scyther and a Heracross.
And the question in chat, the first question that we have is about Heracross.
Heracross has been one of my favorites so far. Like, I was crash testing it for a little while with only counter Earthquake, and it was falling short, especially in some matchups against stuff like Noctowl. That being said, it normally did force a shield on stuff, because if they're expecting a close combat to come out, they know it's gonna either nuke or come very, very close to taking it out, so they're pretty much forced to shield. And so my Mega Horn close combat Heracross has been way, way better than that Earthquake variant, so I'm very happy with it. Mega Horn charges a lot faster than I thought it would, and it doesn't apply as much shield pressure as some other stuff, but when it's paired well with other meta picks like Vigoroth or Magneton, it does quite well in my experience so far. Nice.
So So it seems like Best and West doesn't have the ideal Beedrill moveset as far as I know. Because I believe on Beedrill you want to be running X Scissor and Sludge Bomb. But he had Aerial Ace.
Yeah.
And that's the question that King was just asking too. He was just asking about Beedrill's moveset. I think I muted myself.
Yeah, so I think you want that X Scissor for that like kind of spam. And also to hit the electric types for neutral. And then Sludge Bomb gives you that kind of heavier hitting move that allows you to hit like the flyers back for neutral. So I believe that's the best moveset, but I'm not 100% sure. AJ, what do you think?
I definitely agree. X Scissor and Sludge Bomb are going to be the top, I suppose, meta movesets, but there's some play to see Aerial Ace. Simply because you have that super effective against some of the, I suppose, some of the grass types as opposed to neutral with the grass poison, and then I think it actually comes out a bit quicker than Sludge Bomb, so it might help against some of the bug flyers, and potentially in the mirror matchup as well.
In the mirror,
so,
yeah. In the mirror, I wasn't really sure what move I should be using there.
Right. So it's just one of those things that even though we might have a preferred meta moveset, you're gonna see a rise in anti-meta movesets and stuff like Aerial Ace. So
you think if you ran Aerial Ace, would you drop Sludge Bomb then probably?
Probably, yeah. I mean, Sludge Bomb is kind of nice to have, especially against stuff like Vigoroth. But for sure, I mean, X Scissor is really nice for that spam. So it's a tough call. I think it's gonna favor X Scissor in all movesets, and then whether you choose Sludge Bomb or Aerial Ace, it depends on like what your team composition is weak to. So I'm seeing some scrims right now on screen. You're running Alolan Raichu against Beedrill. He's probably running Poison Jab, and he is. So with that said, it's not a terrible matchup for Raichu. He just gets to spam Thunder Punch. And it takes a lot of damage since Beedrill is mostly attack weighted. So you're forced to shield that X Scissor, which is going to hit for super effective. But you'll be able to probably finish it off with that Thunder Punch or just Sparks. And sure enough, with low HP, we have Raichu ready to go. 0 shields to 1.
Crap, what do I do here?
So there we got Victory Bell going up, and it's a tough spot for you. Basically, Tangrowth and Vigoroth have somewhat unfavorable matchups against Victory Bell. So that being said, Body Slam does spam pretty quickly, and we're in a situation where we're just racing to the charge move. I believe he's going to get a Leaf Blade.
Oh, Sludge Bomb.
Sure enough, he does. And there he goes. I suppose he had Acid Spray, and it wasn't really worth using Acid Spray in that situation. Or maybe he only had Sludge Bomb. So we're going up against Tangrowth and Lantern. Very favorable matchup, simply because of the grass typing. But he gets to shield that Ancient Power, and since you're not running any grass charge moves, it's kind of equalized a little bit. So you go for the Sludge Bomb.
I'm guessing he's going for the Hydro Pump here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is going to be close.
So he goes for the Sludge Bomb. Tangrowth is able to just barely hang on, but it's not able to survive that water gun damage. So GG, win for Best and West. So we're looking at maybe spicing things up, or you're just going with the same team?
I want to try the same team, because I'm just hoping to get a different look. There was some talk on the Discord today of using Tangrowth as like a safe switch. Yeah. So I wanted to try that out, but him leading Beedrill wasn't really a good situation to try Tangrowth as a safe switch.
Not much safe about leading or switching Tangrowth against a Victory Bell and a Beedrill team.
Yeah, that was the problem.
Or even Vigoroth, for that matter. Vigoroth is still going to take a lot of damage. So we got a somewhat of an interesting matchup here. Raichu and Vigoroth go up pretty evenly. If you're able to successfully get a Thunder Punch bait in, you're able to tie or even win the matchup, and then with the Wild Charge spam, you're potentially able to win depending on IVs. So he goes for the Thunder Punch. If he shields, you're in a pretty good spot, and he doesn't. So at this point, we'll see how it plays out. But going for the Thunder Punch again, he's expecting a shield at this point, and he's probably going to try to finish you off with Body Slams.
I think that's a Bulldoze, yeah. He waited too long for a Body Slam. I think that was a misplay on his part. I think
definitely a
if
misplay.
He just spams the body slams, I think he's in a better spot.
For sure. Bulldoze takes a little bit more energy, and Body Slam is going to finish off your Raichu anyway, so you might as well, you know, spam the 2 Body Slams, burn shields or not. So at that point, Thunder Punch comes in. Alolan Raichu has a somewhat more a worse matchup against Lantern than Kanto Raichu, but it doesn't really matter at this point in low HP. So we have 2 favorable matchups against Lantern. He elects to go for Tangrowth, mainly because Vigoroth at the late stage might be a little bit more valuable. And so he goes for Ancient Power. What are you hoping to get, a boost maybe?
Yeah, and it's just spam your... I'm getting lagged here for sure.
So at this point he switches in Noctowl, which is kind of to be expected, but if you can get an Ancient Power in, that does a huge amount of damage, so got a little bit of lag.
If I hadn't got lagged there, I think I would have had it.
Yeah, it's kind of
my plan was to hit an Ancient Power and then switch.
Yeah,
but then...
so you can get into some Body Slam spam, and we'll see how this goes. It's not looking very much favorable to you. I think that Lantern has a decent amount of stored up energy, and for Vigoroth to take out Noctowl and Lantern, no shields, is going to be pretty rough. So you get to the Body Slam before he gets it, so he's overcharging a little bit just to get more energy. Goes for the Body Slam, should take out Noctowl. And it does. So we go for Lantern there. That Water Gun is going to do a ton of neutral damage.
Oh, he has a Thunderbolt ready. No, I think he just had a Thunderbolt ready.
So there
but
we
yeah,
go.
I think without that lag, I could have got off that Ancient Power, then switched to Vigoroth, and I think I would have had that in the bag.
I think so. But, I think it would have been, if not, it would have been a lot closer. Because that Thunderbolt would have just finished off whatever else you had, and at that point, yeah, King IV supporting that, you would have won without lag. So it's an interesting core here.
The Tangrowth is a little disappointing in that Lantern matchup, just because it's only grass moves. Grass move I'm running is Vine Whip. The Tangrowth is
and you're going for Sludge Bomb for
little
coverage,
disappointing in that Lantern
as opposed
matchup,
to say, I think it has Grass Knot.
I think it has Solar Beam. If I had Grass Knot,
really?
I'd probably be running Grass Knot. But it has Solar Beam, which is just too slow.
Okay, so if you're listening on Twitch, you know, question for you guys: what other charge moves is Tangrowth able to learn? Any good Grass type charge moves? If you know, answer in Twitch and help us out here. I think Sludge Bomb Ancient Power is probably the best bet, just for coverage and just being unexpected. Because most things weak to grass are gonna...
Its only other move is Solar Beam, which is just too slow in my opinion.
Yeah. Solar Beam is a nuke though. I mean, taking a hit from a Solar Beam is just not a good situation.
Right, but Sludge Bomb still hits pretty hard too.
For sure, for sure. So they are confirming Solar Beam, and you said the same. So yeah, I tend to not favor Solar Beam. I mean, really, most of the time if you're running Solar Beam, it's just because you run out of TMs. Or if you're running a Typhlosion.
I have something to add real quick though. You said that we were asking for input from Twitch chat, but YouTube chat as well.
Yeah.
By the way, we have we finally figured out how to add YouTube viewers onto the stream as well. So we've got 32 on Twitch and 15 on YouTube. We're also live on Facebook if anyone is watching on Facebook. Just trying out different avenues, you know.
Right. a little bit of controversy in the Twitch saying that maybe lag wouldn't have affected that match. So we lead Masquerain to Scyther, slightly favorable to Scyther, I believe, but they go very, very even. So at this point, I believe both players are just going to try to piggyback. If you get a Silver Win in, that's going to, or an Ominous Win in, sorry, that's going to be a lot of damage. I fully expect a shield at this point, answered by either Aerial Ace or Cross Scissors. So he switches out, goes over to Noctowl, hoping to finish off that Scyther. Successfully gets in on a charge move. Bug Buzz is going to do almost no damage, even that Legacy is not really going to do much. So Vigoroth and an energy gained. Noctowl goes for the Sky Attack, expecting a shield. And he doesn't go for the shield, he decides to tank it, hoping to get some body slams in before Noctowl. So at this point, your Noctowl is going to take that hit and going for what? Vigoroth itself against it. You're on a shield advantage here, and just going for that shielding the body slam and having a lot of energy against whatever comes next. So this is pretty much match. I mean, I don't see anybody recovering from a Vigoroth with full energy and a shield advantage. So he goes for Munchlax, which is a very interesting choice, favored by Argentina in their most recent graphic. That being said, Lick is going to be doing almost no damage, and he's got what, Body Slam and Sludge Bomb. A lot of people are, or Gunk Shot rather, which is just rude if you're going to be running Gunk Shot against someone. You throw a trash can with that hit. So that being said, Counter's just doing so much damage, and Body Slam is going to be hitting for neutral. And that's GG for Munchlax. I don't think that's it. That's recoverable. All right. Did you guys decide how many matches you're going to do against each other, or just?
I'm not sure, but I think he does have to go fairly soon because he has to get prepped for that stream with King. But there's a couple other people who said they could scrim, so I'm just asking him if he has to go or not.
So if you guys are listening in on Twitch or YouTube and you're thinking about running Munchlax, go ahead and comment in the chat and tell us why. I'm not personally convinced on Munchlax. I'm not I'm looking at his matchups. I don't think it's very favorable. It's kind of risky to be running something that weak to Vigoroth.
I just don't like Lick in a cup featuring normal types.
Yeah, well, a cup where Vigoroth is just so central. I mean, it's just
that too,
you don't want to be doing. Yeah, you just don't want to be doing that little amount of damage against Vigoroth. Yeah, Elite 4 TV is asking for more crap talk more bashing on Munchlax. I'm trying to keep it nice here to our first guest, but if more people start bringing Munchlax, I might have to bring the hammer down and make it more fun.
Oh boy.
So here we go. We got Masquerain against Heracross, a super favorable matchup for you, expecting a switch out immediately, which he does, and going for Vigoroth. So even here, Masquerain has a slightly favorable matchup. Goes for the body slam, you shield, and you can go either trying to shield bait with Ominous Wind or Silver Wind. He goes for Silver Wind. It's going to do a ton of damage, so it's very risky for that Vigoroth to not shield. He doesn't. So at this point, you can go either for the farm or just to switch lock your own Vigoroth, and he's going to tank the body slam, finish it up with energy advantage. And here we go. So 2 versus 1 at this point. Body slam against Lantern. Lantern is one of the few electric types that has a pretty decent matchup against Vigoroth. So that water gun is probably going to finish it off unless you land a bulldoze. That being said, it's probably not worth it to try to charge up to that bulldoze since that water gun is going to take it out before it gets it. So he goes for the body slam. And Lantern has quite a bit of energy at this point, so whether you go Noctowl or Masquerain, it's kind of an interesting spot to be in. So I'd be forced to do a shield at this point, which you do, and you go for Thunderbolt, which would have taken that Masquerain out, and go for the, suspect the Ominous Wind, but I guess you're going for Silver Wind.
Isn't
not...
Which one charges faster? I thought... Oh,
Ominous
yeah,
Wind.
You're right. I guess I didn't... That was a misplay then. Yeah, I should have gone for the Ominous Wind.
That being said, you still have Noctowl, which is a pretty high bulk on there, and he's got no Vigoroth there, and he's got Heracross. So if you can take out that Lantern, which you aren't able to, we'll be able to see how much Thunderbolt actually does. Heracross is going to be taken out pretty much immediately with that Sky Attack. So he goes to Heracross, still has Lantern, and we'll see it's going to be very close, and it's a tie.
What an ending to that one.
Yeah, Best in West definitely coming out clutch with that really good swap there. No, Ominous Wind, Pano91 is asking about the charge speed on Ominous Wind versus Silver Wind. Ominous Wind gets out, I believe, one move sooner.
I thought they both came out the first time at the same time, but maybe I just wasn't paying close enough attention.
I don't know. When I was looking at it on the screen, it seemed like Ominous Wind came out before. In practice, it certainly feels that way. It might be one of those situations where it's like a 5 energy difference. But King, I believe you're listening in, so if you know, you're probably our expert, and you're able to pull that up pretty quickly. 40 versus 45 energy, choose to master. Appreciate that. So yeah, with Air Slash, with a decent amount of energy gain, honestly, there's going to be a lot of times where they're both going to come on at the same time. But in a matchup like that, maybe going for Ominous Wind when you would have taken it out to begin with would have been slightly better. I don't know if it would have made a difference.
I don't know. I think maybe if I had gone for double Ominous Wind, I would have got to the second Ominous Wind, because I was like super close to getting one before dying. And Best in West was commenting that he messaged me that he found that if someone doesn't know about Munchlax, that it can draw shields pretty easily. But so I think he was just
doesn't know the charge moves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know so he was Slam and Gung Shot.
I think does it have Bulldoze too?
It does have Bulldoze. Yeah, that's right. So that's the other move for coverage, I suppose. I just don't see it getting that much play. So, while we have this downtime, we're going to be posting an infographic fairly soon. I've been giving it some quality assurance, asking some people out there familiar with the jungle matchups. And they quite like it so far, so I'm pretty confident this is close to the final product. We'll be posting it on Reddit and having a full discussion on it next week. That being said, it really boils down to 4 subgroups, right? So we got fighting types, which Vigoroth counts as one of those, electric types, grass, and then the biggest block, arguably, is the anti-grass / anti-fighting block.
All right, so I'm gonna be battling Billa now.
Okay.
And for those of you not familiar with Billa, I believe he's ranked in the top 20 in the world right now.
Nice. From the DC area.
Yeah, he's definitely a top player. I usually get just shown up in scrims against him quite often.
Yeah. Yeah, Bella's a top tier player, very creative. Very creative in like the lineups he uses and the different strategies. So,
yeah, like I know in a Kingdom, for one of his Kingdom Cups, he brought Bastiodon, Steelix, and Bronzong.
Yeah. Yeah. Alright, so we got Masquerain paired up with Vigoroth. So slightly favorable matchup to you, I suppose. Although I'd be tempted to not switch out Vigoroth, but he goes for the switch. Goes for Magneton, which is a very favorable matchup to you. Kind of some issues there with the switch screen. But there's no way Magneton can pull out a win unless you happen to take 2 magnet bombs there. So slight error on his part,
why is he using Discharge?
Yeah. At this point, whenever you're having a neutral damage to your opponent, Magnet Bomb is the preferred move because they're the same energy, and Magnet Bomb is going to do just slightly more damage. So I think it's just a miscalculation on Bella's part, unless he's running Flash Cannon. So there's some situations where Flash Cannon is going to help. For example, the Venusaur matchup. It absolutely nukes Venusaur and some others. So it's definitely possible he's running Flash Cannon there as opposed to Magnet Bomb. So it goes for the Body Slam. At this point, you just take it and go back to a fully charged Masquerain. Goes for the Silver Wind, and we'll see if Vigoroth takes the hit, and he does. Kind of expecting at some point we're going to get a boosted Masquerain, which is always interesting. He goes for Venomoth, and you switch to Noctowl, which is a very, very favorable matchup to you. Confusion damage always does a lot of damage, but that Silver Wind or Poison Fang isn't going to do much against Noctowl. So you're at this point just able to farm to whatever comes next. So that Poison Fang is going to give it within range of low HP, but still probably the better play to just farm it a little bit further. So you got Sky Attack to whatever comes next, and that's Vigoroth, which switched out earlier. And there we go. So we got another Sky Attack. And shields. And we still have one other mon to deal with Vigoroth, even if it edges out the win, which it does. So I might have made a slight mistake here. I was saying Magneton not having Magnet Bomb or Flash Cannon, and unfortunately,
Ooh, that was close.
it actually, yeah. So he was able to get that Body Slam in and barely not edge out the win with full energy Masquerain. So very, very close matchup. The Ed M Gamer, I just looked it up, and Magneton does have Flash Cannon. It's Magnet Bomb isn't Legacy. Discharge is the Legacy move on Magneton. You know, maybe my source is wrong, but I'm just looking at it here. It has Thundershock and Discharge are Legacy moves, Spark and Charge Beam. And then it has Magnet Bomb, Zap Cannon, Flash Cannon as non-Legacy moves. So if someone can find a different source, I'm using Calci IV right now. Their Calci Dex is showing that it does have Zap Cannon. Sir, I believe you're just going to be trying this same lineup again, Tristan? Or are you going to switch it up?
I'm going to mix it up here. Let's see what we can use. I'm going to try that Raichu lead again.
Yeah. So to that point, Ed M Gamer, so like Magnezone actually has a more favorable matchup to Venusaur. It's able to beat it a little bit more reliably in shields down, and if it's able to get a bait in with one shield. So this is a very, very favorable matchup for you. Alolan Raichu Noctowl, and he goes for Alolan Raichu. At this point, you're able to farm up a little bit of energy, go for the Thunder Punch, and it's really your call, I guess, as opposed to whether you switch or stay in there. I forget what other two you brought in, but we'll be able to see how the mirror performs. He's able to get the Wild Charge, goes for the Thunder Punch, and that Wild Charge is just so much damage, even if it's resisted against something as glassy as Raichu. So we were able to switch in, go for Vigoroth, and as we learned before, Alolan Raichu has somewhat decent matchup with Vigoroth if it's equal energy, full health. Mainly because it's able to resist counter, but it's not able to resist Body Slam, so Vigoroth is able to sort of make up that matchup. But if you land a Wild Charge, which he did, it just does a ton of damage against something as glassy as Vigoroth. So he doesn't shield, still one shield on both sides. I guess it's a slightly more favorable matchup to you at this point. Mainly he had to switch out his Noctowl, but and you still have that Alolan Raichu left, so go for the Body Slam. I suppose he's just going to try to farm you for Sky Attacks here. That's what I would do in any case. Not able to get that other Body Slam in, and at this point, it's kind of rough because you're forced to shield, and I don't know how you're going to be able to get that other Thunder Punch before, and he switches. So you go instantly for the Masquerain. Very, very low HP on that Alolan Raichu. it's not looking great because he's got that Noctowl with, I think, some energy. And, oh no, he was able to get that Sky Attack in. So goes for the Ominous Wind, but he gets a Body Slam in first. And if it doesn't take him out, it's going to be very, very close. And he does take him out. So he goes for the Thunder Punch immediately. But even then, without energy and that being able to shield that's GG.
Yeah,
so
Billa
able to take the win there.
Billa landing both those wild charges is what
huge.
turned the tide of that game.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Wild Charge, I mean, it's kind of like very tricky because Thunder Punch does a lot of damage, but if you're able to tank a Thunder Punch, it's normally going to be a very favorable matchup for you. But if the opponent is able to read the bait out or read the Wild Charge well and shield that, it normally puts you at a pretty big advantage. Not to be underestimated though, because Spark still charges both of those moves fairly quickly. Not as quickly as Thundershock, but still pretty quick. So what are you guys thinking in the chat? If you are running an electric type and you're thinking about Raichu, what are you guys preferring, Kanto Raichu or Alolan? I was on Team Kanto for a while, and now I'm kind of seeing Alolan having the value against Vigoroth. But I'm interested to see what you guys have to say.
Yeah, the reason that I'm trying Alolan is because it's one of the only mons that can either beat or check both Vigoroth and Noctowl.
Yeah. So in pure Sims, Kanto Raichu actually does better because it's got that break coverage against its electric counterparts. But once energy energy advantages come into play, and you consider that a lot of the bug types aren't running bug fast moves, Alolan Raichu starts to be very, very interesting, right? Peace Love Hugs, one of the top players for the North American Championship, I just commented here, is Alolan Raichu has decent matchups against both Noctowl and Vigoroth, and to be honest, that's something I'm kind of in favor with too, but I'm seeing a lot of love for Kanto Raichu in the chat. So it goes for the Wild Charge, might as well, even if you shield, which he probably is going to just tank it. It's going to do a decent amount of damage against Venusaur. Barely not able to get that Thunder Punch in. Might have been over-tapping there. Goes for Masquerain, and he switches to his Masquerain. So you get a little bit of energy advantage there. Going for Ominous Wind. He switched out his Venusaur, so he is switch locked. So it's interesting to see how this plays out. He's going to probably go for the Ominous Wind, and he does. And at this point, able to finish him off with Air Slash. It's kind of tricky here because he's got that Venusaur. But he goes for the Ominous Wind, and he's got a shield, I believe, and he does. So he spends the last shield on Venusaur. Equal shields. Air Slash is doing a ton of damage, and Vine Whip is just not really cutting it. So he really does need to use that Frenzy Plant to finish it off, which is not a favorable position for Billa right now, because even if he gets that Frenzy Plant, Body Slam is going to come in slightly faster. So Vigoroth is able to take the match. And that's GG.
Yeah, so far I'm really liking the Masquerain because it's got decent coverage on Vigoroth, the grass types, and the other bug types.
Right. I think this is one of those cups that if you just go straight off of rankings on PokeBattler or pvpoke.com, you're gonna run into issues. Like Fortress might have like really high rankings there, but that's because there's so many bug types and grass types available, even if they're not meta. So Fortress in practice ends up losing to the fighting types, ends up losing to almost everything in the anti-grass, anti-fighting category, loses to a lot of the electrics most of the time, and really only like solidly beats Beedrill, Venomoth, Dustox, and the grass types. There's an argument to be made because, you know, Earthquake is just able to do a lot of damage and it loses less badly to some of the other stuff. but if you're relying on Fortress just because it has a high ranking, you're going to be in for trouble. So he goes for Beedrill against Alolan Raichu. He switches out, knowing that X Scissor is going to do a ton of damage. At this point, Venusaur is still a very positive matchup for you. You're just able to do Cross Scissor spam. I suppose he just doesn't want to lose Alolan Raichu, and he's just sacrificial swapping the Venusaur, hoping that you switch in something even more favorable, and you go for the Masquerain. So we'll see how this works out. I know that Frenzy Plant is going to do close to no damage, but Sludge Bomb is going to do a ton. So we'll see. It goes for the Sludge Bomb. It takes out a huge chunk of HP, and you're able to finish it off with quite a lot of energy. Ominous Wind or Silver Wind are pretty much charged up. And goes for the Ominous Wind against Raichu. Forced to shield here, no matter what comes from Masquerain. It's going to do a ton of damage, and it does. So at this point, either having to let the other 2 Mon with the 2 shield advantage, or a 2 shield equal situation, as opposed to using that shield on the Masquerain. So he goes for Vigoroth, fully charged Body Slam. No matter what comes in there, it's pretty much going to take neutral damage from Body Slam. A little bit of lag here as we're waiting for the Body Slam to go. Blocked by enemy Vigoroth. And at this point, they're just slogging at each other for Body Slams. I'm expecting some piggybacking here, but I guess you don't. Go for it. And we get the Body Slam out. Vigoroth tanks that hit. And we have 2 shields. We use it. So at this point, you have the energy advantage. It's a tough call. I probably would have done the same shielding there against that Body Slam. Just finish it off with counters and spam Body Slam against whatever's... Oh, that's it. GG. I thought there was another one left.